guess the way I would say, I would describe our relationship and impact and importance in the hosting business is we are a media company, so we are a media business.
Right.
And we are focused on and will continue to focus on creating, distributing, and monetizing content. And the creation piece is starting to get a lot of attention now because we have this business called Demand Studios, where we work with a number of writers and editors and filmmakers who are producing a massive amount of content. That content is going to need to be consumed by users, and they're going to want to consume that in the places that they're visiting, the websites that they enjoy, and so we see a huge opportunity for the growth of not only the existing market of websites but new websites, which of course is what's going to drive the growth in new domains and new sites, and those sites are going to need to be hosted somewhere. They're going to need to require bandwidth. So when we think about the way we touch the hosting business, particularly through Enom and our registrar business, we just see a lot of potential opportunity. There's a lot of revenue that's going to be generated because of the model that we're creating. Us and others too, but the proliferation of high quality content driven websites it's really just it's just getting started. Yeah, I think every consumers and businesses, everybody want good products, right? They want something that's going to be engaging, that's going to be efficient, that's going to be easy to use, and whether you're a publisher or a consumer, everybody's got those same needs. So publishers are creating, in my view, they're creating specific products. Okay, so that website, that magazine, that newspaper, look at the offline world, those are distinct products. They have a distinct brand, and they have a distinct voice. So voice and brand are really where you differentiate yourself. Right? The writing style, the way you package content, that's how you're going to create value on the internet. But you also want to be able to answer people's questions, right? You want to be able to give them information on certain topics. And people have been using third-party sources of information for a long time, like the Associated Press in the news business. So we just think that there's now a new model that's being created, and we're one of a few people who are kind of out there at the forefront trying to create this model to really supplement, not replace, supplement the content and the product experience that you as an entrepreneur or website owner are focused on. See, it's important. That's an important distinction because there's a class of. You look at the blogosphere that kind of got started. I don't know, almost 10 years ago now.
Right.
But and I think at one point I used to quote a stat. I think Mary Meeker from Morgan Stanley used to put in her reports that there were 70 or 80 million blogs. Right. I think that was a U.S. number. Right. So it's we saw early on that people wanted to write. They wanted to create content. But we also saw a need for real curation and real expertise, right? It goes back to that product experience that we talked about earlier, where people want good products. And they want to be able to be informed by experts who understand the subject matter. And oftentimes you might have a real expert who's sitting in, I don't know, Scranton, Pennsylvania, right? Who just understands the hosting industry as well as anybody. Right. They don't work for you, but they might write something, they might put up a post, and all of a sudden they become kind of a freelance writer for you. And what we're doing with the Demand Studios is basically capitalizing on that trend and just centralizing that whole process. So we are creating this huge network of qualified freelancers that our sites tap into to create depth of content, and now our partner sites too. I think both benefit. And people might benefit for different reasons. You might benefit because having that depth of content might allow you to attract more users.
Right.
Okay, so then it's a little bit more of a customer acquisition game. But maybe you as a publisher who are producing content, because you can surface more relevant content, now you're focused on engagement. Right? And so those higher engagement levels are going to lead to higher ad rates.
Right.
So it's really there's a number of different benefits from having more content on your site as opposed to less.
Yeah.
we've always felt that you can't separate the creation from the distribution piece.
Yeah.
It's been, and big media companies have struggled with that for a long time, right? I mean, look at Time Warner Cable, right? They wanted to sell off the cable system, the distribution piece, and keep the channels. I mean, and people, it goes back and forth. There's that cycle seems to ebb and flow. Now Comcast buying back NBC and its cable channels. I mean, now you're seeing, again, the marriage of content and distribution. Okay, so we've always felt that those two pieces make a lot of sense together, and it's hard to do one without the other. So it's hard to build a content creation platform as a standalone business if you don't own the distribution, or at least a significant piece of distribution, because you can test, you can optimize, you can see how all the stuff works together. And in fact, the reason that Demand Studios even exists is because we actually started with the distribution piece, right? We were buying and developing a number of websites and quickly realized we needed a platform to be able to grow these things. And so through a lot of experimentation and trial and error, I've created the content creation platform. There's two sources of revenue principally for the business model. It's advertising, and that's the largest piece of our business. And then there's a subscription element to it. Subscriptions being a combination of people paying for trails.com subscriptions if they're outdoor enthusiasts, people paying for our platform services, which would be eNom service, right, domain registration services, email, etc., or the Pluck business, which today is our social media tools and technology, and that's a software as a service business model. It's nice to be able to do both, right? I mean, similar to the way Google's business works, where they've got their on-network Google.com business where people come and do searches and they show ads, or they show ads across the web through the AdSense product. And AdSense, I think, today is about 55% of their revenue. So their distribution piece is actually bigger than their owned piece. Now today, our owned piece is the largest piece of our business, but we think there's an opportunity to do a lot of stuff off-network.